Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Dr. Shahid Maqbool Virak. Today I will discuss with you a very important topic of final year examination, that is ischemic bowel disease. Definition of ischemic bowel disease: inadequate flow of oxygenated blood to intestines, and patient might be having mild to severe disease based on the amount of damage to the small or large intestine. The anatomy of small intestine. Small intestine comprises of duodenum, jejunum, ileum, and is mostly supplied by superior mesenteric artery. And the large intestine comprises of cecum, colon, rectum, anus, superior and inferior mesenteric artery. Types: you must have to go through these terminologies. Patient, if only the part of small intestine involves, then patient labeled as mesenteric ischemia. If the infarction involves only the large intestine, then this is called ischemic colitis. If both the small and large intestines are involved, then it is called enterocolitis. Then the causes: this is the blood supply of the gut. Then the second cause is venous outflow obstruction. It is caused by any hypercoagulable state, which might be congenital or acquired. Congenital hypercoagulable states mostly comprises of deficiency of protein C, protein S, antithrombin 3. Then it might be caused by antiphospholipid antibodies and different type of malignancies, which causes hypercoagulability, just like the blast crisis of the myeloid leukemia, and another example is polycythemia rubra vera and many other malignancies. Then the third cause is failure of perfusion. This is again one of the most common cause of ischemic bowel disease. First cause of failure of perfusion is cardiogenic shock. Any cause which fails the cardiac pumping ability and causes cardiogenic shock, it can present with ischemic bowel disease. And second is hypovolemic shock of any cause can present with ischemic bowel disease. And this diagram will show the mesenteric ischemia, that the blood supply of the small intestine is damaged by infarction due to some cause, and patient has developed mesenteric ischemia. And this is the progression of the bowel disease. Then the vulnerable areas. Some of the areas are very prone to infarction. These areas are called watershed areas. These are splenic fractures, sigmoid colon, rectum. Why these are vulnerable, or why these are called watershed areas? They are having dual blood supply, but from the distal branches, most distal branches. Because of these most distal branches, these are more vulnerable in hypoperfusion. Then the tail enders, the last parts of the blood supplies. Then the clinical presentation, history and examination. History: patient can present with sudden abdominal pain, vomiting, absolute constipation, bloody diarrhea, and bleeding per rectum. But keep in mind, these are very common symptoms. You must have to rule out and rule in by taking the detailed history to rule out the differential diagnosis, just like to rule out the inflammatory bowel disease, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, abdominal lymphoma, abdominal tuberculosis, and many others, because these are very commonly found in all these other diseases, and you must have to rule out before reaching the diagnosis of acute intestinal ischemia. That is, might be mesenteric ischemia, might be ischemic colitis, might be acute enterocolitis. The second one is chronic intestinal ischemia. The patient might present with abdominal angina, pain in abdomen, just like the cardiac angina. It might also be called abdominal angina in literature. Postprandial pain: whenever patient eats, the demand of blood supply increases, but the damaged vessels are unable to meet up the demand, and the patient develop postprandial pain. And then the patient fear to eat because of this pain, Because of these both of the scenario, patient might develop malabsorption due to deficiency or due to malabsorption of the some of the nutritionals, and patient might develop weight loss because of this. Then the clinical examination, general physical examination, then the vital signs, then the GIT, and then the CVS. First of all, general physical examination. You must go for the general physical. Patient might be in agony. Patient might be in, depending upon the severity of the illness, and then the vital signs. You have to look for the respiratory rate, the blood pressure, the pulse, to assess the hemodynamically stability of the patient. And if the patient is having hypotension, systolic blood pressure less than 90, and then the diastolic blood pressure, then these are the signs of hemodynamic instability. And you have to divide the patient while assessing these vital signs and clinical examination, that patient is hemodynamically stable, that is the blood pressure is adequate, patient is not very much serious. And if the patient is very much serious, just like the blood pressure is falling, and patient pulse is very feeble, and patient is going into a comatose condition, then you have to label this patient as hemodynamically unstable. Then the local GI examination, you might be having inspection of the GIT. You have to go for the inspection of the GIT. Patient might be, the GIT usually moves with the respiration, and patient due to pain, it might be static. It is not moving with the respiration. Patient might be very tender, even to mild into superficial palpation, and patient might be having gargling and rigidity and absent bowel sounds. But if the patient is very tender while superficial palpation, you must limit your clinical examination. You must not go proceed and tell your examiner that patient is having tender and pain to touch. Then the CVS examination, that is most common etiological cause of ischemic bowel disease is CVS, and you must have to go for a detailed CVS examination, comprised starting from the inspection, palpation, and then the auscultation. And you have to look for the localization of the apex beat. You have to look for some of the thrill. You have to rule out the valvular heart disease and other findings. Then the investigations. You must be familiar with the name of mesenteric angiography. Just like the cardiac angiography and the CT and then the brain angiography, there is another entity, that is mesenteric angiography. It can be performed with the conventional way, and it can also be performed with the CTA, computed tomography angiography. Then another very excellent investigation which is developing nowadays and very easily available, that is the duplex ultrasonography. And then another investigation, abdominal spine X-ray, erect spine, to rule out the air fluid levels. Then the etiological investigation, which is the culprit, just as for example, if the CVS is culprit, if the cardiac organ is culprit, then you might have to go for the ECG, you might have to go for the echocardiography or Holter monitoring. And if some of the malignancy, you might have to go for the to rule out the primary malignancy. This is the diagram of angiography. This is the diagram of CT abdomen, and this is the abdominal X-ray erect spine to rule out the airflow levels, to rule out the surgical abdomen. And then the starts management. First of all, emergency measures, medical management, and surgical management. We have to assess the patient in very clearly, to divide the patient into two portions, different type of patient. First, if the patient is hemodynamically unstable, you must be referring the patient to surgeon to go for the laparotomy, and then the surgeon assesses regarding the possibility of thromboembolectomy and resection of the gangrenous bowel. And then if the patient is hemodynamically stable, then you have to go for the medical management. Then you have to go for the thrombolytic therapy, just like in myocardial infarction, and patient might be going for the mesenteric revascularization, which is also called bypass surgery. Then what are the indications of surgery? Acute abdomen, perforation, gangrene, and stricture formation. These are the indications of surgery. And types of surgery, one is the conventional old one in open, and no, second one is endovascular, which is developing nowadays. Long-term monitoring, Doppler ultrasonography. The patient, this is a very excellent tool, and now developing very nowadays, and you might have to go for Doppler ultrasonography for long-term monitoring. And now, in the end, मैं आपको एक आका अलैहिस्सलाम की हदीस से नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम पर ख़त्म करता हूँ, क्योंकि आजकल कोरोना की क्राइसिस में बहुत सारे साइकोलॉजिकल मसाइल जो हैं वो जन्म ले रहे हैं कि बहुत सारे लोग जो हैं वो परेशानी में हैं, और परेशानी में इंसान को गुस्सा ज़्यादा आता है, और फिर और गुस्से के साथ फिर उलझनों में इजाफा होता है। तो आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम से एक दफ़ा किसी ने अर्ज़ किया कि या रसूलल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम, कौन सा इस्लाम सबसे अफजल है? आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरमाया, इस शख्स का इस्लाम सबसे बेहतर है जिसकी ज़ुबान और हाथ से तमाम लोग महफूज रहें। शुक्रिया।